Have you ever felt, at some point in your life, a subtle presence, an intuition that seemed to come from another world, or a message that appeared within you without explanation, leaving a strange, almost magical sensation in the air? Perhaps it was during a moment of silence while walking alone, or even in a dream that seemed more real than reality itself. If you've experienced this, then you know what I'm talking about. What if I told you that these experiences may not be just coincidences, but actual signs from your spiritual mentor trying to communicate with you? Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover could completely change the way you perceive your life and the signs of the universe around you. Emmanuel, the spirit who worked side by side with Chico Xavier, left powerful messages through psychography, teaching that we all have spiritual mentors who, even invisible to our eyes, are constantly trying to guide, protect, and inspire us. He reminds us that the spiritual world is always around us, subtly influencing our decisions, thoughts, and even encounters we consider chance. Many of us fail to perceive these signs, but when we learn to identify them, our understanding of life transforms, opening doors to a deeper, calmer, and much more connected consciousness. Today, I'll show you 5 secret signs that indicate your spiritual mentor is trying to communicate with you. Signs that most people simply ignore or interpret as coincidences. And make no mistake, some of them are so subtle that they go unnoticed for days, weeks, and even months, until someone recognizes them and finally understands the message being sent. What you'll discover here isn't just theory or philosophy. It's practical guidance, inspired by Emmanuel's messages, that can be applied to your daily life, helping you hear your mentor's voice clearly and objectively. Imagine, for a moment, that every strange sensation, every sudden intuition, every unexpected encounter, or every vivid dream could be your spiritual mentor's way of whispering answers to questions you haven't even asked aloud yet. Have you ever considered that thought that came out of nowhere might have been advice straight from the spiritual realm? Or that incredible coincidence you experienced might have been carefully guided by someone who wants your best? Number 3 of these signs in particular is known to transform the perception of those who observe closely, revealing patterns you never imagined existed around you. But before revealing these signs, it's important to open your mind and heart to the possibility that we are always surrounded by subtle messages, and that to perceive them, we need to look beyond the obvious. Often, we're so focused on the hustle and bustle of everyday life, our problems and distractions, that we miss unique opportunities for spiritual guidance. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes you will understand not only how to recognize these signs, but also how to interpret what they mean for your life, your choices, and your spiritual evolution. What you're about to discover isn't something everyone can easily grasp. It requires attention, sensitivity, and above all, the courage to accept that not everything we feel or see needs an immediate logical explanation. Emmanuel teaches us that the wisdom of spiritual mentors often manifests itself in subtle yet profound ways, capable of provoking insights that can completely change the course of our journey. And when you begin to notice these signs, you'll see that life ceases to be just a sequence of random events and transforms into a harmonious flow of messages, alerts and guidance that arrive at exactly the right time. Have you ever wondered if someone is watching, guiding, or trying to whisper answers to you, even if you don't realize it? Perhaps you felt unexpected advice come to mind, a powerful intuition at just the right moment, or even a hunch that saved you from a mistake or a difficult situation. Have you ever experienced this? If so, know that you're not alone. What many don't realize is that these experiences can be signs from your spiritual mentor, someone who exists on an invisible plane but works tirelessly to guide your life, protecting and illuminating your path. Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover now could completely change how you perceive these signs and how you connect with the spiritual world every day. Spiritual mentors are guides who silently accompany us, offering guidance, comfort, and clarity when we need it most. They don't appear before our eyes, but manifest themselves through intuitions, synchronicities, dreams, and sensations that often go unnoticed. It's as if someone is whispering answers to you, but you need to learn to listen. This guidance is subtle but powerful, and when you learn to recognize it, life begins to reveal patterns and messages that previously seemed invisible. This is where the importance of understanding the role of these spiritual guides and paying attention to the signs they send us daily comes in. Emmanuel, a spirit who works side by side with Chico Xavier, left us profound teachings about the presence of spiritual mentors and how their messages can transform our way of life. Through psychography, he brought words that soothed troubled hearts, guided important decisions, and revealed paths unseen by the naked eye. Many people received his messages and, without realizing it, had their lives transformed. What's most fascinating is that these messages are not limited to the past or the context of Emmanuel's time. They remain applicable today, helping those open to hearing, feeling, and interpreting what comes from the spiritual realm. The power of a spiritual mentor lies precisely in this silent presence that awakens intuitions and inspirations at just the right moments. Have you ever had a sudden idea or felt an impulse to act in a specific way, only to realize that it avoided a problem or opened up an incredible opportunity? This is the kind of guidance Emmanuel described, demonstrating that we all have access to a higher consciousness that communicates with us in delicate, almost imperceptible ways. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes you will learn to identify these messages and see how they are already occurring in your life, often without you even realizing it. When we talk about spiritual mentors, it's important to understand that there's no single path or form of communication. Each person receives signals according to their sensitivity, experiences, and emotional state. Some perceive them through vivid dreams. Others feel an immediate intuition or encounter synchronicities that seem like small coincidences but carry important messages. Emmanuel always emphasized that attention is fundamental. The more you observe and connect with your own inner world, the easier it becomes to recognize the voice of your spiritual guide. And the most incredible thing is that this connection doesn't depend on complicated rituals or advanced mystical practices. It's accessible to everyone who truly wants to listen, perceive, and interpret the signs that arise in everyday life. It's as if the mentor is always present, extending a hand to guide us, but waiting for us to do our part. Open our hearts, pay attention, and trust. Throughout this video, you'll discover how this guidance manifests in subtle yet powerful ways, and how to recognize each sign in a practical and conscious way. Stay with me, because now we're going to begin exploring the clearest and most surprising signs that indicate your spiritual mentor is trying to communicate with you. Signs that many people ignore or fail to interpret, but which can completely transform your perception of life and the world around you. Have you ever had that feeling that something inside you is trying to get your attention, even without any logical explanation? An idea that won't leave your head, a phrase that constantly repeats itself, or a thought that pops up just when you need it most. If you've ever experienced this, you know how strange and yet fascinating it is to realize that not everything we feel or think comes solely from ourselves. What you're about to discover now may surprise you, because these experiences can actually be clear signs that your spiritual mentor is trying to communicate with you. Stay with me until the end, because the way you view everyday events will never be the same again. Emmanuel, a spirit who works side by side with Chico Xavier, taught us that these signs are always around us, but most people don't know how to recognize them. He demonstrated through psychographed messages that our spiritual mentors use repeated intuitions, mysterious coincidences, and even dreams to guide us, often in ways so subtle that we spend months ignoring them. Imagine, for example, receiving a constant idea about something that needs to be done, but without understanding where it comes from. It may seem like just a reminder or a nudge from your mind, but it's actually spiritual guidance, a gentle nudge to help you recognize the right path. Furthermore, mysterious synchronicities are another type of sign Emmanuel highlighted. Have you ever encountered a person or situation exactly when you needed an answer without planning anything, or felt like everything around you conspired to point you in the right direction? These coincidences, which seem like simple happenstance, are actually intelligent messages from your mentor, guiding you through signs most people don't even notice. Paying attention to these synchronicities is learning to listen to the invisible voice that walks beside you. And dreams, oh dreams, Emmanuel always emphasized that they are precious channels of spiritual communication. Many of us have had dreams that seem more real than life itself, bringing images, conversations, or symbols that linger in our memory and, when reflected upon, reveal answers or solutions to complex situations. Stay with me, because understanding how to interpret these dreams can open doors to a much deeper connection with the spiritual world, enabling you to recognize patterns and signs that previously went unnoticed. Another type of signal comes through emotions, sudden feelings of comfort or alertness that arise unexpectedly. Sometimes you feel a chill, a sense of unease, or an intense calm in certain situations. Emmanuel explained that these emotional impulses are ways spiritual mentors guide us, signaling paths to follow or alerting us to important decisions. Don't underestimate these sensations. They carry messages that can change the course of your life, but they require attention and sensitivity to be understood. And finally, there are the inspirations for concrete actions that transform our reality. A spiritual mentor doesn't just send thoughts or feelings. They also guide us through ideas that can lead to meaningful decisions. Small impulses, sudden insights, or convictions that arise without apparent explanation are often invitations to act in ways that improve our lives and help us evolve spiritually. Emmanuel, through his psychographies, has told countless stories of people who completely changed their paths after perceiving and acting on these signs, demonstrating that spiritual guidance is not abstract. It is practical and transformative, and it's precisely these signs that we'll delve into next. Now that you're beginning to understand the constant presence of your spiritual mentor, prepare to learn how to identify each of these signs in practice, recognize their messages, and understand how they can guide you through decisive moments in your life. In surprising and meaningful ways, have you ever felt guided by something you couldn't see, but that seemed to be there, guiding your choices and thoughts? Perhaps it was a sudden intuition, a hunch you couldn't explain, or a coincidence so perfect it seemed impossible to be mere chance. Have you ever experienced this? If so, perhaps you felt, even if unknowingly, the presence of your spiritual mentor trying to communicate with you. And if you learn to identify these signs, your life can transform in ways you never imagined. Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover now may open your eyes to a reality many ignore, even though it's right in front of us every day, even amidst the chaos of the modern world. Amid commitments, worries, and distractions, signs from your spiritual mentor continue to appear, subtle yet powerful. Emmanuel, the spirit who worked side by side with Chico Xavier, left us teachings that show that spiritual guidance is not a distant or inaccessible concept. It is practical every day and manifests itself in ways that everyone can perceive as long as they are attentive. Notice small coincidences, write down your intuitions, and meditate on recurring dreams. These simple habits can become direct bridges between you and the wisdom of the spiritual world, revealing answers and paths that previously seemed hidden. When you begin to notice these signs in your daily life, you realize they don't just happen. It's as if someone is guiding every detail of your routine, offering silent clues that lead you to make decisions more aligned with your own evolution. Emmanuel emphasized that these messages are signs of care, love, and guidance. No matter how busy or confusing your life, your spiritual mentor is present, offering clarity amidst confusion, peace amidst stress, and confidence amidst doubt. Stay with me, because learning to recognize these signs is like turning on a light in a dark hallway, revealing paths you never knew existed. And it's not just about noticing coincidences or isolated intuitions. It's about creating a habit of conscious connection, developing sensitivity to the invisible, and trusting your own perception. When you begin to write down thoughts that arise repeatedly, pay attention to dreams that bring messages, and reflect on situations that seem too coincidental to be just coincidences. You are training your spiritual gaze. And this not only broadens your perception, but also strengthens your connection with your spiritual mentor, making each guidance clearer and more precise. The importance of this learning is immense. In a world where everything happens so fast, and we are constantly distracted by information and stimuli, knowing how to identify the voice of your spiritual mentor is a true treasure. It brings a sense of support, security, and hope, showing you that you are not alone and that there is a higher intelligence working for your growth. Emmanuel always emphasized that everyone has access to this guidance, but that it is necessary to be attentive, sensitive, and receptive. It is precisely this attention that transforms small, everyday messages into powerful insights capable of changing trajectories and opening new perspectives. And the most fascinating thing is realizing that when you start applying these teachings today, you don't need to wait for grand signs or extraordinary miracles. They're already happening every day in subtle and surprising ways. Every intuition, every coincidence, every sudden feeling of comfort or alertness carries a message. And by learning to recognize these manifestations, you begin to live more consciously, more connected, and more aligned with the purpose your spiritual mentor wants to help you discover. Now that you've begun to notice the silent presence of your spiritual mentor in your daily life, prepare to delve deeper and learn how to interpret these signs in a practical way, transforming every observation, every feeling, and every coincidence into clear guidance for your life. The next step will reveal how these messages become real, tangible, and applicable, helping you live with greater clarity, confidence, and harmony. And as you begin to notice how these signs from your spiritual mentor may be present in your daily life, I want to invite you to be part of something even greater. If this topic resonates with you, leave a comment below with what touched you most or an experience you've had. It could be that inexplicable intuition, a dream that seemed to bring answers, or even a coincidence that left you speechless. Sharing these experiences not only helps create a deeper connection between all of us seeking to understand the spiritual world, but also strengthens your own perception. Often, by putting our feelings into words, we can clearly see what previously seemed confusing or distant. And if you feel like this type of content adds something to you, sparks curiosity, and offers new perspectives, showing it by liking the video is a way to show that you want to see more content like this. Each like isn't just a number. It's a sign that this message can reach others who are also seeking answers, guidance, and spiritual connection. Your participation here is what makes this channel grow and reach more people with this type of content. And it's incredible to think that together we can create a community that supports each other, learns and evolves together. And of course, if you want to continue following every insight, explanation, and teaching we share about spiritual messages, intuitions, dreams, and signs from the mentor, subscribing to the channel is a way to not miss a thing. It's a simple step that ensures you're always connected to new discoveries and reflections that can transform your way of living and perceiving the world around you. By subscribing, you also help strengthen the work of those who seek to bring light and understanding to topics that are often ignored, but which can make a real difference in people's lives. So, as we prepare to dive even deeper and reveal how to practically identify these signs, Think about what you felt, the little messages that may have gone unnoticed until now, and share them here. Your experience, your feedback, and even your simple presence on our channel make all the difference. Because together we can create a network of learning, inspiration, and spiritual growth. And now, keeping this attention open and this curiosity alive, we will continue exploring how each sign from your spiritual mentor manifests, how you can recognize it in your daily life, and, most importantly, how these messages can bring clarity, direction, and transformation to your life in a concrete way. Have you ever found yourself at a point in your life feeling like some invisible presence was there, subtle but impossible to ignore? Perhaps it was a moment when a decision seemed to come out of nowhere, or when a persistent intuition guided you down a path that, looking back, made all the difference. It's curious how these experiences happen precisely when the mind is open, but we're not always conscious enough to realize that they're not just coincidences or random thoughts. Emmanuel, a spirit who worked side by side with Chico Xavier, taught us that these small, often invisible interferences are manifestations of a spiritual mentor trying to communicate with you. And what's even more fascinating is realizing that, by opening your eyes to these signs, you begin to perceive a hidden truth that was right there in front of you all along, but that the rush, worries, and distractions of everyday life hid almost imperceptibly. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this topic, because understanding the presence of a spiritual mentor isn't just about accepting that someone is guiding us. It's about understanding that our entire journey is permeated by decisions that, when aligned with these guidelines, can generate profound transformations in our mindset, our behavior, and even the way we see the world. Each sign that emerges, whether a repeated intuition, a mysterious coincidence, or a dream filled with symbolism, has a direct impact on our lives, as if they were small revelations that accumulate until they show us a clearer path, more aligned with who we truly are and what we came here to build. It's striking to note how the modern world, with its fast pace, ends up drowning out these subtle messages. We are constantly connected to thousands of external stimuli, consuming information, chasing goals and results, and we often forget to look within, to pay attention to the small clues that appear before us. Emmanuel, through his psychographed messages, always emphasized that attention and sensitivity are essential to perceive these signals. Every persistent intuition, every strange or unexpected sensation, however brief, carries a meaning that can impact your choices, your relationships, and even your personal and spiritual evolution. Think, for example, of an idea that keeps popping into your mind repeatedly. At first, you might think it's just a figment of your imagination, or even a passing concern. But if you stop and analyze it, you'll realize that this recurring intuition is often your spiritual mentor's first contact with you, an attempt to guide your decisions more consciously. And it's not just isolated thoughts. There are times when seemingly random coincidences begin to emerge with a frequency that can't be ignored. Meeting people who bring unexpected answers, noticing repeating patterns, or coming across information at the exact moment you need it. They're like small pieces of a puzzle that, when observed closely, reveal a larger, clear, and purposeful picture. Emmanuel also emphasized that dreams are essential channels of communication with the spiritual realm. Many of us have had dreams that remain vivid even after waking, bringing messages that might otherwise go unnoticed if not carefully reflected upon. Dreams, reflections, and even moments of deep silence serve as a backstage of this communication, where our spiritual mentor offers us insights into decisions, paths, and situations that require our attention. And the most interesting thing is that these messages are not random. They are intrinsically connected to our real lives, our daily choices, and the process of evolution that each of us goes through. When you begin to perceive these guidelines and reflect on them, a kind of synergy is created between your consciousness and the spiritual realm. It's as if your mindset begins to align with a greater energy, capable of guiding your decisions more assertively, bringing clarity where there was previously doubt, peace where there was previously anxiety, and confidence where there was previously fear. Every small perception, every sensation you learn to interpret, has the power to generate profound transformation, because it changes the way you interact with life, with others, and with yourself. And they're not just feelings or abstract thoughts. Often these guidances translate into concrete actions, an unexpected decision to change something in your routine, a conversation that arises at the right time, an opportunity that arises unplanned but leads to significant results. These are signs that indicate not only direction, but also intention, the spiritual mentor's intention to help us evolve, to show that we're on the right path, or sometimes to warn us about situations that could lead us away from our greater purpose. This combination of subtle signs, intuitions, coincidences, and practical inspirations creates a powerful narrative that, when understood, reveals the true impact of the spiritual mentor's presence in our lives, something that goes far beyond what meets the eye. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this topic because understanding each nuance of these signs is essential for us to apply them concretely in our daily lives. Beginning to notice patterns, reflecting on messages in dreams, paying attention to recurring intuitions, and recognizing meaningful coincidences are steps that bring us closer to a broader understanding of our own journey, our personal transformation, and how our decisions can be aligned with a greater truth that until then seemed hidden. It is at this point that the magic begins to reveal itself. Small signs that previously went unnoticed begin to transform into powerful insights, capable of shifting perceptions, generating clarity, and opening doors that had remained closed. And as you absorb these insights, realizing that every detail of your daily life may contain a message from your spiritual mentor, I want you to do a little connection exercise. Reflect for a moment on a recent situation in which something unexpected caught your attention, an intuition that came out of nowhere, a coincidence that made your heart race, or a dream that seemed to bring answers you didn't know you needed. Can you identify that moment? Keeping this perception in mind, write in the comments, "I'm on this journey too." Now, I want to delve even deeper into this subject, because understanding the presence of a spiritual mentor goes far beyond simply accepting that there is someone invisible guiding us. It's understanding that every intuition, every sensation, or every coincidence that appears in your life can be part of a grand orchestra, a network of signals that connects thoughts, decisions, and events in ways that the human mind sometimes cannot immediately grasp. Emmanuel, a spirit who worked side by side with Chico Xavier, left us valuable teachings about how this presence acts in our daily lives, often through subtleties that, if not perceived, go unnoticed, but which have profound impacts on our mindset, our choices, and even the pace of our own evolution. Imagine for a moment that every thought that insists on returning to your mind isn't just a figment of your imagination or everyday worries, but a calling, a guidance trying to lead you to decisions more aligned with your personal journey. It could be a sense of alertness regarding a situation, an inspiration to act differently, or even a sudden impulse to make a decision that, in retrospect, seems to have completely transformed the course of your life. These moments, which may seem like mere coincidences or fleeting intuitions, are actually signs from your spiritual mentor, small fragments of a hidden truth that is always available to us, but which requires attention, sensitivity, and above all, courage to recognize. And this ability to perceive and interpret signals is not something reserved for a select few. We all have the ability to connect with this guidance, as long as we are willing to slow down, observe, and reflect on our own experiences. Emmanuel has always emphasized that conscious observation and reflection are essential tools for understanding the signals that arrive from the spiritual plane. Every repeated intuition, every coincidence that seems to scream for attention, every dream laden with symbols or messages, are all part of the behind the scenes of this communication. These are revelations that, when understood, can bring about significant changes in the way we approach life, the way we make decisions, and the way we perceive the world around us. Have you ever noticed how we often feel compelled to act in a certain way without knowing exactly why? Or how certain encounters, words, or situations seem to arise at just the right moment, offering answers or insights we never expected? These are clear examples of the work of a spiritual mentor who works silently to guide us, protecting us from paths that could be harmful, and showing us opportunities that can bring growth, learning, and transformation. And the most interesting thing is that these manifestations are not restricted to extraordinary or miraculous moments. They hide in the most ordinary details of everyday life. The instant an idea recurs, the unexpected encounter with someone, the dream that remains vivid in our memory, or that sudden sensation that alerts or comforts us. The impact of this is profound, because when we begin to pay attention, we realize that our decisions are no longer just random choices and become part of a larger flow, a narrative in which every action, every thought, and every feeling has a purpose, a reason for being, a purpose that often escapes immediate vision. Emmanuel always emphasized that this guidance is practical, not abstract. It directly influences how we interact with the world, with others, and with ourselves. By developing this awareness, we begin to observe patterns that previously seemed invisible, revelations that transform our understanding of ourselves and the impact of our choices. And even amidst the chaos, hustle and bustle, and constant distractions of the modern world, these signs remain present. They are silent yet insistent, demanding our attention and sensitivity. They are like whispers begging to be heard, messages that repeat themselves in subtle ways but carry the power necessary to provoke insights, changes in mindset, and decisions that have lasting repercussions. A spiritual mentor not only points the way, they shape our perception, sharpen our intuition, and invite us to reflect on the direction we are taking, offering opportunities for transformation even in the most ordinary moments of our daily lives. When you begin to recognize this presence, you realize that everything connects: intuitions, dreams, coincidences, sudden emotions, inspirations to act. Each element ceases to be isolated and becomes part of a larger map, a network of signs that reveals not only the guidance of the spiritual mentor, but also a greater truth about ourselves, our decisions, the way we live, and the impact each choice has on our journey. It's a subtle yet profound process, capable of transforming the way we approach life, generating clarity amidst confusion, and connecting us with a source of wisdom that transcends the everyday. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this topic, because understanding how to observe, interpret, and apply these signals in everyday life is essential for us to align our decisions with this invisible guidance. Beginning to notice patterns in small coincidences, reflecting on recurring dreams and intuitions, noticing unexpected emotions that arise at strategic moments, these are steps that connect us directly. Now I want to delve even deeper into this topic, because understanding your spiritual mentor's signs goes far beyond simply noticing them superficially. Every intuition that repeatedly arises, every unexpected coincidence, every vivid dream or sudden feeling of comfort or alertness carries a greater meaning. Emmanuel, a spirit who worked side by side with Chico Xavier, always emphasized that these signs are channels of communication that allow the spiritual mentor to influence our decisions, our mindset, and consequently, the transformation of our own lives. It's as if we are constantly inserted into an invisible script, where small clues appear at the right moments, shaping our journey without us immediately noticing, and revealing a hidden truth about the flow of existence and the connection between our choices and future developments. The first sign, which many people ignore, is strong intuitions that recur. Perhaps you felt an idea, a phrase, or a sensation that insistently returns to your mind for no clear reason. It could be a thought about a decision you need to make, a perception about someone close to you, or even an internal alert that you don't fully understand at first. Emmanuel reported, through Chico Xavier's psychographies, that these recurring intuitions are often the spiritual mentor's first contact with our consciousness, a way of subtly directing us toward the path most aligned with our evolution. The impact of these intuitions goes far beyond what we imagine, because, when observed and interpreted carefully, they can prevent mistakes, open doors, and even anticipate events that might otherwise go unnoticed. The second sign is marked by mysterious synchronicities, those coincidences that seem like small coincidences but have an astonishing precision regarding our needs or doubts. Perhaps you meet a person who offers the answer you were looking for, or encounter a seemingly random situation that clarifies something that was confusing in your mind. Emmanuel emphasized that these events do not happen by chance. They are coordinated by a higher intelligence that acts behind the scenes of our lives, guiding our decisions and offering profoundly impactful clues about the direction we should take. It is a form of communication that requires keen perception, observation, and openness to perceive the invisible logic behind events, something that transforms the way we understand our daily lives and our own journeys. The third sign, perhaps the most fascinating and revealing, involves messages in dreams or during moments of deep reflection. Emmanuel has always emphasized that dreams are windows to the spiritual realm, where advice, warnings, and insights arrive with surprising clarity. Often, dreams that seem disconnected or even strange carry hidden meanings that, when interpreted carefully, can completely change the way we perceive our situations and decisions. It's as if the spiritual mentor uses these moments of inner silence as a stage to convey teachings, stimulating reflection that generates transformation in mindset and behavior in the face of circumstances. These experiences serve as a behind-the-scenes communication that is both delicate and powerful, offering guidance that connects directly to our real lives. The fourth sign manifests itself through sudden feelings, whether of comfort or alertness. Have you ever felt an inexplicable calm in the face of a difficult situation, or an immediate uneasiness that makes you retreat or rethink a decision? Emmanuel explained that these sudden emotions are indicators that the spiritual mentor is at work, signaling paths, offering protection, or drawing attention to details that might otherwise go unnoticed. The power of these sensations lies precisely in the spontaneity and intensity of their emotional impact, forcing us to slow down, reflect, and make more conscious decisions. These are moments that provoke internal revelations about ourselves, our choices, and the direction of our journey. Finally, the fifth sign involves inspiration for concrete actions that can transform lives. And like other signs, which often manifest subtly or symbolically, these guidances appear as clear invitations to act. It could be a sudden idea that leads you to change something in your routine, start a project, or connect with someone in a meaningful way. Emmanuel shared in several psychographies stories of people who saw their lives change drastically by following these inspirations, understanding that it wasn't just intuition, but direct communication from a spiritual mentor that influences decisions and generates real impact. These actions demonstrate that the spiritual guide doesn't simply send thoughts, feelings, or warnings. They act in a practical way, guiding the person toward making choices that promote growth, learning, and transformation. By recognizing and connecting these 5 signs, repeating intuitions, synchronicities, messages in dreams, sudden emotions, and inspirations to act, you begin to see everyday life through new eyes, realizing that every detail, every coincidence, and every insight are part of an invisible communication network that guides your journey. It's as if the layers of reality are slowly peeled back, revealing patterns, hidden meanings, and signs that were always present but can only be understood when we are attentive and willing to listen. This awareness transforms not only the way we make decisions, but also our mindset, bringing clarity, confidence, and a deep sense of purpose. And as you absorb all this, reflecting on your own experiences, try to identify a recent moment when one of these manifestations arose in your life, even if it seemed random. Comment, "That makes sense to me." Now I want to delve even deeper into this topic because understanding how to apply your spiritual mentor's signs in everyday life is where true transformation begins. It's not just about recognizing intuitions, coincidences, or messages in dreams. It's about learning to observe life with an attentive, sensitive, and conscious eye, capable of capturing nuances that routine often hides. Emmanuel taught us that every detail of daily life, no matter how simple it may seem, can carry powerful guidance if we are willing to notice it. It's like going behind the scenes of a reality that until then seemed invisible, discovering that our decisions, our emotions, and our reflections are part of a larger network, where each signal received has a direct impact on our journey and our personal evolution. To begin applying this in your daily life, it's essential to develop observation habits. Write down the intuitions that arise frequently, even those that seem trivial or unimportant at the time. Often these small repetitions carry a hidden truth, a message that reveals itself gradually, but which, when recognized, can profoundly change the way you deal with situations, people, and opportunities. Meditating on recurring dreams or reflecting on experiences that have captured your attention is also part of this process. Don't underestimate the power of these reflections. They are windows that allow you to see invisible connections and revelations that are ready to transform your mindset and guide your decisions in a more conscious and aligned way. Another important point is to notice the synchronicities and coincidences that appear throughout the day. Meeting people who offer precise answers to your questions, seemingly by chance, or coming across information at the right moment, isn't just luck. It's the silent work of your spiritual mentor working behind the scenes in your life. By recognizing these situations, you begin to notice patterns that previously went unnoticed, creating a sensitivity that connects your daily life to messages from the spiritual plane. This awareness not only strengthens your trust in your intuition, but also inspires more assertive decisions that have a real impact on your life, generating tangible results, learning, and continuous growth. Emmanuel also emphasized the importance of paying attention to sudden emotions. Feelings of unexpected comfort or intense alerts arise to signal that something needs to be noticed or reconsidered. These emotional signals are powerful tools because they invite us to slow down, reflect, and act more consciously. They have a direct effect on our mindset, allowing us to make decisions aligned with the greater purpose of our journey, while also bringing clarity, balance, and inner peace, even amidst the chaos of the modern world. Learning to interpret these emotions is essential, as each feeling is a channel of communication that can guide us to paths, people, and opportunities that will make a significant difference in our lives. Furthermore, applying these signals requires paying attention to inspirations to act. Often the spiritual mentor doesn't just send thoughts or alerts. He or she guides us to concrete decisions that can generate profound changes. A sudden idea, an initiative that arises without prior planning, or an intuitive action that seems to connect everything harmoniously are manifestations of this silent accompaniment. They are opportunities for transformation that remind us that we are constantly evolving and that how we deal with each situation defines the quality of our journey, impacting not only ourselves, but also the people around us and the environment in which we live. Even in a world filled with distractions, stimuli, and information, these signals remain accessible to all who develop attention, sensitivity, and a willingness to perceive. It's a matter of training your eyes, mind, and heart to capture the subtle messages that arrive in different forms. By observing small coincidences, reflecting on repeated intuitions, recording dreams, and paying attention to unexpected emotions, you create a field of perception capable of revealing what was previously hidden, bringing clarity, guidance, and a positive impact to your decisions and your life in general. Each of these steps is an opportunity to transform the way we live, see the world, and connect with the higher intelligence that silently accompanies us. And as you reflect on this, try to notice the small signs that have already appeared in your routine without you paying due attention. That persistent idea, that sudden emotion, or that coincidence that made your heart race could be clues from your spiritual mentor, signs that you're on the right path, or warnings that something needs to be adjusted. As you begin to notice these manifestations in your daily life, the feeling of being accompanied and guided becomes more concrete, bringing confidence, peace, and motivation to act with greater awareness and clarity. Comment there. That makes sense to me. And now that you've followed every detail of these signs and realized how your spiritual mentor may be trying to communicate in ways that often go unnoticed, I want to invite you to continue this connection. If this content resonated with you, brought you some clarity, or sparked a sense of deep reflection, leave a comment. I'm with you until the end. It will be incredible to see who is truly following this journey, because it is each person's participation that keeps this type of content alive and accessible to all seeking greater understanding, greater awareness, and greater transformation in their lives. If you felt these ideas added something to your day, please leave a like naturally, because it's not just a number. It's a way of showing that the message reached you and that it makes a difference, strengthening this exchange we're creating. And if you're not yet part of this space, subscribe to the channel. Here you'll find content that helps you notice signs, reflect on your journey, and understand the messages that are often hidden in the details of everyday life, all designed to bring clarity, inspiration, and tools that truly impact your mindset and decisions. And to continue this exploration, there's a video here that complements this topic, showing other ways to perceive spiritual guidance in everyday life and how to transform these perceptions into concrete actions. Click and stay with me there, because the journey doesn't end here. It deepens with each discovery, each reflection, and each step you decide to take with greater awareness and presence.